Very transformative LinkedIn Live. I'm now calling it the Empower Hour. I am so honored and thrilled to have Russ Hedge with me today. Russ is doing a lot of the things we're doing, and that's why I aligned with him, had a great call. Russ is just a fabulous guy. I hope you could take this opportunity to reach out to Russ if you really align with him. And that's the key to this, is making connections, getting answers, sharing triumphs, whatever you need to do to express yourself in a safe, comfortable environment. So with that said, chat's on. Looking forward to the first comments. And I'll introduce Russ. And Russ, why don't you say a little bit about yourself and, introduce yourself to the audience.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. I'm Russ Hedge, as Donald said, and I am your marketing coach. I am a keynote speaker. I am your inspiration specialist. I'm here to inspire and encourage you to live your best life now. In our show we just had on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott, we were talking about that. Living life now, living life young, really taking advantages of opportunities. And, one thing I'm all about, my why and my purpose in life is to inspire and encourage you to live a purpose driven life of significance. And what does that mean? I want you to be a world changer. I want you to be a difference maker. I want you to do the amazing things God created you to do. And I have a firm belief, Donald, that everybody has a little bit of amazing in them, ready to burst out, and people sell themselves short. They really don't realize how much value and they really have for others. And each one of us can actually bless and help other people every day of our life. There's people out there that need an encouraging word. There's people that need maybe the information and the expertise that we have in whatever we do. And just having those opportunities is amazing within itself. And so that's really what I'm all about.
Wow, well, you're about a lot of really important things, and I'm sure areas that everybody here would benefit from being able to share insights, because I believe collaboration is the key to really being able to meet by plan instead of accident, to search out and be the chooser of who you want to be, your board of directors. Ann Bimbola's here. She's here every day since she started about 10 days ago. Thank you for coming. I sure appreciate your presence. Christy, who was just on and is going to be on regularly. Happy Wednesday, Don and Russ. Well, happy Wednesday to you too. Christy also says, spot on, Russ. We're here to help others, even with our own struggles, to help their journey. So true, so relevant. You want to speak to that, Russ?
Well, that is so true. I think that we all are walking a journey of life, and we're all going to have our ups and our downs. We have great moments that are amazing, and then we have times that are not so good. And a lot of times people will ask me, because God has gifted me with a personality of being just really positive and upbeat and outgoing, and people will say, "Are you always that way?" And I'm like, "Nope." But you know what? I make choices when things aren't going well. When I'm going through struggles, I make choices to positively and intentionally, do what I want to do in a positive way, to spread encouragement, inspiration, to bless other people, to encourage and help other people that are going through struggles, because I think that our struggles are just a blessing to others, because they realize they're not alone, that there's somebody else going through it with them. And one thing, I don't know if you and I've talked about this, Donald, but I'm going through a cancer battle right now. So back in summer of last year, I had melanoma cancer removed from my foot. They had to rebuild my entire instep. I couldn't walk for 6 weeks, which was a challenge within itself. But then after they removed that, they called me a few days later with the test results. They had removed a lymph node from my groin area to find out that had cancer in it. That had a tumor as well. So now they upgraded it to stage 3C, and now I had to go through treatments. And so that was something I had to wrap my brain around. It's a struggle. It's a tough thing for my family. But you know what? I kept a positive attitude. The doctors have a positive attitude. Things are going really well. Moving forward, I'm up walking and driving and doing all those things again. But there are so many people that have reached out to me that are going through the same kind of struggle or even worse that I'm going through with cancer, that I've been able to encourage and inspire and been able to just communicate and connect with them.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes as to how people share and how people relate, because you're right, it's the lonely side of things that is the hardest thing to deal with. And when you're with people who care about you, love you, support you, bless you, it changes your whole mindset. And that's what this program's becoming, because the audience created it. This is what people want to talk about. This is what they want to hear, because one part of LinkedIn, which is a major part, is the spammy, scammy, salesy, in your face type of thing. And people who are
Right.
truly high integrity, honest people want to be with people that they feel safe and comfortable with sharing, right? If you don't trust somebody, you can't trust anything about that person. Christine, who's going to be on the show on the 4th. Oh my God, I love Russ. I want to be his best friend. Well,
Connect,
Russ,
connect. RussHedge.com/contact. RussHedge.com is the best way to connect with me. Do it.
yeah, and Russ is really an aficionado of broadcasting, right? As far as like LinkedIn Lives, podcasts. Why don't you share that?
Well, okay, so I'm a good example of just putting one foot in front of the other and figuring it out as you go. We talk about life being a journey and the ups and downs. Well, I jumped into live streaming and podcasting completely unintentionally to begin with. I did it because a friend of mine encouraged me, and then I jumped in not knowing, having any idea what I was doing, and I was suddenly producing and doing video editing and doing all this stuff. What I found was that I could do it, that through mistakes and challenges along the way, that I was able to smooth that out and make it work. And, some people think that, hey, Russ has got it all together because he does all this stuff. No, I don't. I still make mistakes and I still have challenges, but you know what? I keep moving forward because, like you talk about, Donald, the audience, this is a great medium to just grow connections, build community. Your audience is, as they speak to you, are really speaking to your heart as to what's important to them in life and what's important to the people you're trying to reach, whether you're doing personally or doing business with, because I believe you are your business. So if we listen to a business side, you take your personality, your ups and downs in life, your challenges and good things, all that go to your business. And other people that you're working with, your ideal client, people talk about, they're people going through struggles and challenges and all those kind of things. When you listen to them and you listen to what's going on, it makes you all better. Makes it better for life, makes you better for business. And I have found live streaming just to be an amazing tool. I've connected, like you, Donald, with people all over the world. I have amazing, amazing friends just
Mm-hmm.
about everywhere on every continent. And it just, sometimes it blows my mind, really. It blows my mind with the opportunity that's out there.
Oh, well, you kind of fall into things. And usually, I mean, I was on a show with someone for 6 months, twice a week, LinkedIn Live, and I learned I could do it. And what I realized is people come for what you offer, but they stay for you. And
Yeah.
early in my career in business, when I always bootstrapped everything, I mean, $4 on eBay to a huge e-commerce uh, enterprise. And what I learned is make a friend first, make that friend, and then determine what that friend can or can't do. And if nothing else, you got a friend. You get an
Yeah.
early win, and it's an easy win because all you're saying is, I'm here for you. I like you. I trust you. And let's figure out how we can put a couple things together that by ourselves wouldn't have been possible. And,
Right.
it's like a workout buddy. In 37 years of business, I always had partners because I didn't want it all. I didn't need it all. And I didn't want to be the only guy at 5 a.m. looking at the ceiling thinking I got 2 hours to come up with something I haven't been able to come up with. So, you're laughing, and that's so cool. What I love about this program is people laugh people smile. If that's
Right.
all there is, that's a lot. And in addition, what it
Right.
also does, it bubbles up fond memories, interesting memories that people recall, that's right there living next to all those challenges you've had and embarrassments. And you wonder, why do you take that book out of the library every day instead of the other one? But if you're kind to other people, I believe you're kinder to yourself, right?
Oh my
Because now
goodness.
and receiving, right? Instead of waiting for who knows what, and that's going to happen when it happens. What do you think? Well, here's Christy. I mean, well, we got some really good comments today. Ambimbola, keeping a positive attitude in the worst of situations is great. Your story is inspiring, Russ. And that's the benefit, is whatever you go through gets dividends when you help somebody else who doesn't have to go through it, or more importantly,
Right.
is going through it and is
Yep.
having a challenging understanding how to reflect on it, because everything is what it is. Then it's whatever you add to it for as long as you want to take it. What's your thoughts on
Well,
Ambimbola?
good point. And I always say, to what you're talking about there, life happens and then you choose. So life is going to happen to you. You have no control over what happens to you, but you have every bit of control over what you do next and where you go. And keeping a positive attitude, it is scientifically proven that a positive attitude is going to help you be healthier, help you be better. And whether, I'm not a believer that you can totally heal yourself. Like my cancer I have, I don't believe I can magically heal myself. I am a man of faith and I believe that God can heal me, but I believe that keeping that positive attitude and moving forward with a positive outlook on life makes a huge difference with how I recover, how well I do, how my body feels. And so I think that is so important. And I think that we need to realize every day that we're going to have challenges, we're going to have struggles, and it's okay. We need to learn from them. Their life is the best teacher, right? And we had just talked about this on our last show on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott. One of our guests, Ferlin, who is, I think, from Malaysia. She was amazing. She was talking about smiling at yourself. We talk about self-care. You can smile and laugh and have joy with other people, but why not smile and laugh with yourself and at yourself and just have a great time building yourself up? Because it's okay to think about yourself first when it comes to your well-being. I just got
Mhm.
back from a flight to California. I went down to LA to see my son and daughter-in-law with my beautiful wife and daughter. We flew down, and the first thing they told us, the old overused analogy, but it's so true. When those oxygen masks drop, if we have problems, put yours on first, because otherwise you're going to pass out and be no good for anybody, right? You've got to take care of yourself. You got to smile at yourself. You got to be positive with yourself, not beat yourself up, so that then you can help, encourage, and bless others.
So true, so profound, and so easy to integrate in everybody's mindset, right? Because you
Right.
got to get your mind right before you worry about anything else that you're going to do, because everything's going to flow from there. Another thing, Russ, that's so important is, when you're more positive, people around you are more positive too. When you're doing better for
Exactly.
yourself, people are happy for you, right? So everything ripples. And, if all you can do, like I say, is get a little bit happier every day, smile, find something to laugh at. I mean, you're your own best friend or your own worst enemy. And they say the
Right.
game is always between you and yourself, and the human will and spirit and faith is so important, because they've got so many studies of people who were only given so much time, and because their daughter was getting married in 8 months, or there was a baby on the way, that they can't figure it out. People got themselves to it, right? And I
Right.
think the thing is, in every journey, it's those little baby steps that allow you to move forward. And the other thing is, and we're talking about this on the show all the time, if you can't do it, could we do it? Right? So it's like, don't take the
Right.
whole load if you can't carry it. I mean, if you're bringing a refrigerator in the house, you wouldn't think twice about asking a neighbor or two to, hey, can you give me a hand, versus knowing it's going to be too much. And the other thing is people, I find, are there for you if you allow themselves to come together with you, right? If you're
Yeah.
putting out
Oh
good
yeah.
stuff, and you're good stuff, you're a rarity, right? And people want to get around people they like, they trust, they know. And to this point, we've got access to 900 million people just on LinkedIn, and then it's simulcast to YouTube and other places. And this will play
Right.
forever. We're going to have a few hundred thought leaders see this. This happens every day of the week. Everybody who comes on here gets that exposure. But more importantly, forgetting about vanity or success, people get their voice and themselves seen. And I think that's
Yeah.
extremely important, to have a voice that's valuable to yourself. But more than that, that people come back and say, hey, you're a great guy. I want to get to know you. Or, boy, I am so impressed with that. Because how many times do you get a compliment every day? And how easy is it for someone to give it? And it could be just as genuine. I was talking to my 10-year-old grandson last night, and we were just talking about kids in the class, and I said, well, who gets you really excited when they show up? And he said, well, there's this girl named, I won't name her name, I don't want to get into my grandson's thing, but I said, what happened? He said, everything gets brighter when she shows up, it seems. And I said, well, here's a key. Find something you really, really like about her and share it in a normal way, right? If she's got a great set of crayons or something, and just notice those things in people. And it's just paying attention, that most people go through life in a blur, with one foot in yesterday, another foot in tomorrow, and they're
Right.
wasting the day they're in. Let's get Christy's here. It's about speaking your truth, dancing with your skeletons, the good, the bad, and ugly, as another can see their struggles in a view that can help them through it. What do you think, Russ?
Well, absolutely. I think that Donald, you alluded a while back to the old know, like, and trust factor that everybody uses in business, which is true. You got to get people to know, like, and trust you. But part of that whole thing is being a little vulnerable, being authentic, and sharing some of your struggles. So when I was going through my initial start of the cancer battle, and I had so many people reaching out to me, I decided to share and be a little vulnerable about what I was going through. You find that everybody comes around you, and you can do amazing things when we're all together through business, with you collaborate through your personal life, with encouraging and sharing with each other, but you help each other make it through. And so that is, Christy's exactly right. I mean, it doesn't matter. Life is filled with good, bad, and ugly. It is. And that's not a negative thing. You could die tomorrow, and that's not a negative thing. What that means is you should live today, because we don't
Mhm.
know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, and when I say things like that, people are like, "Oh, well, that's horrible. That's negative." No, I am not a negative guy. Trust me. I am living life. I'm loving life, and I'm choosing to intentionally treasure each moment that I have, because I am not guaranteed tomorrow or the day after that or the day after that. I am sure, I have a strong belief that God is not done with me yet, and there's a lot for me to do. So I'm going to be here for years to come, but I'm going to live every day like I don't have tomorrow. And, Ferlin, who was on our show, that's actually in the comments here, was talking about part of that process too. Is just really, again, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're smiling at yourself, you're encouraging yourself, and then reaching out to your community and doing the same thing. Bless people, encourage people. It's little teeny, Donald, like you said, little teeny baby steps, one step after the other. Don't let life get you overwhelmed and get you
Mhm.
discouraged. What's going to happen is, if you have a really horrible, sad thing. Last summer, my mama passed away from Alzheimer's. It was very sad. I held her hand in the final weeks of her life, and I had been with her. She was the best mama ever, and that was very sad. And I had to process that and go through that. I didn't just pop up and say, "Ta-da, I'm positive and everything is happy," because that event was not happy. But I realized that through just taking baby steps and letting people around me and love me and help me through my transition to being positive and being the person that I really am, that was the way to go. And it is a together thing. It is a community thing. And that's why I'm all about, no matter where you are in life, connection and community building, because it is the foundation for life. It's the foundation for business. It's foundation for, I'm a marketing guy. It's the foundation for any good marketing plan. Zig Ziglar said years ago, Donald, you build the people and then the people build your business. And what that means is you just love and connect and encourage and be with other people, and they're going to be the ones that are going to help you through your life or your business. I did a show. I do a workshop called "How to Turn Cold Calling into Making Friends." Talk about one of the things that people hate in business, right? Who wants to cold call? Well, let me tell you, don't go in there trying to sell people. Just like Donald alluded to, there's a group on LinkedIn and on any social media that immediately are shooting you off things, selling you stuff. And it's like, hey, you don't even know who I am. You don't know that I need what you sell. And I'm not interested because you're not interested in me. Well, that transition also works when you meet people. Don't go into an office trying to sell people. Go into an office to make friends, build connection, build community, build relationship and rapport. Then life takes care of itself. I had a good example yesterday of a friend of mine that owns a hamburger joint. It's called Cheesy Stuff Burgers in Corvallis, Oregon. Shout out to Cheesy Stuff Burgers, awesome burgers. And I went in only to see him and get a burger and talk to him. What did he say to me? Partway through the conversation, he goes, "Hey, Russ, how's the live streaming going? Is that still being really effective for you?" I said, "Absolutely. It's been a blessing because of people like you who support me." And he says to me, "Hey, why don't you put me down for a sponsor next month? I want to be one of your sponsors next month." And I didn't even have to ask him why, because we're friends, we have relationship, and he wants to bless me as much as I want to bless his business.
Well, that's so important because reciprocity is everything, right? There's a rule I have, which is the two-step rule. You take a step, I take a step, I take a step, or you take a step, but no one should take two steps. And when someone isn't stepping, you're finding someone else. It's like tagging, posting, whatever it is, you reward the people who support you. And the other thing is, everybody should recognize that no one's an island. Everybody needs help in one way or another. Everybody needs somebody one way or another. And once you know that, then it's a matter of taking inventory to say, a lot of people who get you where you are aren't going to take you the rest of the way because they're not going that way. Right. And now it's time to make decisions. The beautiful thing about what we're doing here every day is, first of all, it's repetition. You don't lose it. You don't come back in a week and maybe people recognize you. And it's for people when they need it, 7 days a week. This is like the hotline. If you're having a bad day, come here. These people are here to help themselves, help you at the same time. And when you're giving, you're actually taking, because you're taking a portion of what you gave. And to Russ's point, and this is so thought-provoking, you live here so long. What you do here lives beyond you, right? What Russ just said has now rippled into this pond with all the people who are here, and will then continue to ripple into their ponds. And you never know where this information goes, what this information can do. But if it just saved one person for closing the lights in their office, warehouse, or store today, to say, give it another day. Or if you can't do it, there's people who are happy to help you. A lot of people don't understand. People have a lot. At a certain point, want to give it back somehow because they know at this point they got enough, or they can afford to share. They're just looking for justified, qualified individuals who will appreciate it. What Christy says, real quick, has a nephew with a brain disease. I'm spending time with him. So positive and such joy to be around. He's going to make something of himself in this world. Ferlin, thank you so much for coming. It's always nice to see new people and new faces, because I trust everybody to trust themselves to see what is and see what works for them. And I think LinkedIn Live and social media is a buffet. You get to pick based on your ability to justify. Christy says father had rare cancer. but was with us for 2 more years with his positive attitude and outlook on life. We do have the power. And, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And
Amen. Amen.
I'll speak to that.
That is a great John Maxwell quote. I love that,
Mhm.
and it is such an amazing, true. I love that. Nobody cares about what you know until they know how much you care. That is a great thing to remember in business, everybody, because you know what? When you go out there, you can act like you know it all, and you can dump all this information on them, and they're just going. They don't care because you don't care about them. People on LinkedIn, listen, everybody who's doing this, when someone says connect with me, do not send them a sales pitch because
Mhm.
that is just like la 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 la. You don't know what they need. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they come from. Do yourself a favor, connect with the people, get to know people before you try to sell them. And those things are so critical in life. And I just love that. I just love all these people on here and the great comments we've had because we're all going through something in life. We are. And the comment about her father, who ended up living 2 years longer than the original prognosis. So true, so true. You can affect how your body does by your attitude. It's true. It's a true scientific fact. And my doctors, the number one thing they tell me is stay positive, keep moving.
Mhm.
There's a positive outlook. Things are looking good from a medical standpoint. But the more positive you are, the more you have a good attitude and a good mindset, that better your body does. And so it's important to do that. And I think in life, we all need to remember that, just like Donald's been saying. And Donald, you're an incredible communicator. I love your show because you really listen and you're paying attention to what your community is saying in the comments and all of these things. Because you know what? Let's all speak to what's affecting all of us. Why was COVID such a major connection point in life? COVID was bad, right? It was a bad thing, but it put everybody on a level playing field. And suddenly we were all going through the same thing. And we had this thing we could connect through. And actually, that turned a real negative into a positive. I'm a firm believer that God works all things for the good. There are bad things that happen in life. There are struggles, there are challenges, there are problems out there, right? They teach you never to say that in sales. But listen, everybody, we have problems. We do. We have problems. But you know what? You don't have to stay in that problem. You don't have to stay in that struggle. You have to stay in what you're going on. You can live like the dad we were talking about. He chose to have a positive attitude because you know what? Maybe didn't have a lot of life left, but let's enjoy the life we have. Live the life you love. I wrote a book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. By the way, shameless plug, available on Amazon, and everybody can grab a copy. And also at my website at russhedge.com. But it's all about choosing the life you want to live after life happens to you, having a positive mindset, a positive attitude, and moving forward. And you can accomplish amazing things when you live like that.
Absolutely. That is so worthwhile to, and the beauty of LinkedIn Live, you can go back and hear this again, right? You don't really have to take notes. This is here. That's going to be on my LinkedIn forever. And the other thing about it is you need to meet people where they are, and that means yourself. And
Right?
sometimes the lowest common denominator, I tell everybody, is just breathe. Get down to just breathing. Just focus on breathing and then work your way up from that. And enjoy things that are always so wonderful and beautiful that you take for
Can I
granted.
speak to that?
Sure, please.
Can I speak to? I don't interrupt you, but I was going to say my word of the day. I have an Instagram word of the day every day. My word of the day today was breathe,
Oh,
because you know
really? I
what?
didn't know
We
that.
we are on the same, our minds are like traveling on the same path, Donald. You've got to simplify things, just like my friend Bruce Carnahan, who was on with Ferlin on our show beforehand, was talking about. He's all about simpler, faster, better, but he's talking about starting with simplifying and just breathing, like you said. This morning, when I get up in the morning, I have a morning routine every day to set my mindset. I'm thankful. I say I've got this. I give myself a little pep talk. And number three, I say today's going to be awesome. I set my mindset on a positive outcome for the day. That's how I start my day. But then I get out and I do journaling and devotions and things in the morning, and I just breathe and I just start slow without all the voices, without all the distraction, without all the craziness in this world. We got to block that stuff out, and we got to give ourselves time to process life. And that helps everybody. If you're, no matter what you're going through, we are all going through something. No matter what you're going through, if you do what Donald said and you stop and breathe and just take in deep breaths and relax, and then try smiling and laughing. I have a friend who's he's the laughter man. Pete Can, the laughter man from England, amazing friend. He does laughter therapy, and I'm telling you, if then you laugh a little bit and you smile at yourself, it's amazing how it changes the way you feel. And so, Donald, sorry, I just wanted to add that in on the breathe
Oh, yeah,
portion.
that's what this is all about, is being spontaneous, being responsive, being in the moment. That's why I don't have questions for people. I don't rehearse anything, which saves a lot of time. It's live and everybody's more forgiving, where you don't have to worry about editing or spending time with yourself perfecting. And the other thing is you have what you have right now. And right now we're all in the same now together, right? We're all on the same page. We can say anything that we think right now that you woke up with and maybe get an answer for. And if not, find a person that you connect with from here, but outside of here, right?
Right.
I mean, I see Ken Dunner, haven't met you, but I sure appreciate you and appreciate your participation. Oh my God, another delectable, scrumptiously delicious, edibly tasty, good, heartfelt conversation. Well, I'm a superb believer in superlatives. I don't think they're
Yes.
used enough. I think there are people who are marvelous, who are sensational, who are earth shaking, with the one and only Russ Hedge, savor the flavor of the awesomeness in that. Ken comes back here again with savor the flavor. Great. Ambimbola, who's on fire. Challenges will come no matter how hard we try to avoid them, but our reactions to them matters and determines what happens to us thereafter. Positive outlook to life is the key to overcome. You're so right, Ambimbola. And here's the thing.
Absolutely.
People hear your music before they hear your words, right? And if
Yeah.
you're enthusiastic and you're excited, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, people, it's contagious. And to
Right.
laughter, I mean, there was a whole thing of laughter yoga 10, 15 years ago that spread throughout the world. And people found that whether the laughter was, if you want to call it genuine or self created, the effect on the body was just as profound, right? And the
Yep.
key is to really be able to be vulnerable, because no one gets out of here alive, right? So we all know the end up. And what
Right.
are you going to do? And I see so many people acting like a loser, and one day they win, and next day they go back to losing. And I see so many people acting like a winner, and they find out one day they lost and it was only one day, and they're back to being a winner. They say optimism is having never to lose any enthusiasm, going from failure to failure, right? And when you can enjoy the process, there's a song I keep mentioning, the next thing to playing and winning is playing and losing, right? Because it's the playing, that makes life so worthwhile. It's leaning into things and challenging yourself, that you can always go back to yesterday. There's nothing wrong with a new day, and you never know what you don't know. Here we go with with challenges. Russ is thanking everyone. Thanks for being here, Ferlin and Ken. It's nice to have people who follow
Yeah.
you, who support you,
Well,
and in turn, you're sharing their names, you're sharing who they are, you're referring
yep.
people. Collaboration goes as deep as you want it to go,
Right.
right? And
Right.
to me, I mean, anybody who's on this show, anybody's on, it's going to get tagged 7 times a day. I'm doing a newsletter every day, a LinkedIn Live every day, 3 posts every day, a poll every day, right? And I'm getting 80 tags every time I do it, because I want to get as many people up and out and on their way. This is an onboarding. This isn't a place where you
Right.
stay. It's a place you go, graduate, and come back and share and help other people graduate. And why not all be at a higher level? Because we have lift,
Sure.
and how many people reach down to pick somebody up while they're waiting for a hand to come down to pick them up, right? Be who you want
Exactly.
others to be to you, act as if you are, you'll become. I mean, a lot of stuff is universal. I mean,
Right.
old school.
We all rise together. We all rise together. What you're talking about right there. We
Mhm.
help each other and we become better together. And instead of being competitive, we need to be collaborative. I use this example all the time in business. If you notice at most places you're driving down the freeway and you see a McDonald's, what do you see right next to McDonald's? You see a Burger King and a Wendy's, right? Why are three burger joints all coming together in the same spot intentionally? Well, I'll tell you why. Because good business, good people, good things draw people and they rise together. They all do better because they're together, even though they're selling the same product. They're intentionally banding together. And I think that's so important in life and all the things you're talking about, Donald. It is this intentional collaborative spirit, this community that we're all about. And we find that here on LinkedIn and here on a lot of social medias. You're a master of consistency, Donald. The things that you're doing consistently, doing those things, what it does is it draws community. It draws people that see your actions and see what you're talking about, but then see what you're doing and the fact that you're doing it on a consistent basis. When I went from live and before COVID, I would go to networking and business groups, and I would be consistent and I would be outgoing and I would attract attention, and that was who I was, and I would do that consistently and people knew who I was. And then I jumped that to online when we started doing strictly online and then live streaming and all that as well. And through that collaboration, that connectivity, and that consistency, you build a community around people that are like minded, that are heading down the same path, that are going through life's journey of struggles and challenges and then overcoming those and making life better. And I think that is so important for people to remember. You know what? Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep moving because there's better things on the other side. Right, Donald?
Oh, for sure. And every day you learn something, and learning has value. And another thing is, what's your issues doesn't mean someone else has a responsibility to take care of them, right? In other words, if you're short of funds, you don't go into a happy home and start disrupting it with a bunch of sales pitches or this and that, because you're right. Showing is so much more valuable than telling. Like I said, I've done 1,000 days. I haven't missed a post. I've done 7 months, 7 days a week, haven't missed a LinkedIn live. And you know what it shows? I'm here. I'm always going to be here. You can trust and depend on me being here. And is that who you want to go and fight the good fight with? Is that what you want to do to allow yourself to be validated third party by who you're associated with? That reflects on you. And when you bring people, and what's so lovely about this group, best friends are bringing their best friends. They're not just bringing somebody they know or somebody they think they can use it. They want the people they love and care about the most to get the benefit, but more importantly, to be with them when they're having the benefit. And when you get best friends joining together, they stay together and then they duplicate. And one
Yeah.
question I have for you, Russ, is I know you're affiliated with a lot of people that have pretty significant uh, podcasts, LinkedIn lives. How big can this get? I know you were mentioning the Schulmans at one point, because a lot of these people are just getting their toe in the water. And
Oh,
if they
yeah.
understood where this could go, I think that would be beneficial.
Well, and how, yes, absolutely. I agree. And I do get to interact with some pretty amazing people. And you have to realize you have to start somewhere. And most people that do podcasting or live streaming, they die out in the first month or two because they don't feel like things are happening and things are moving the direction they want them to. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't happen overnight. You're not an overnight success. You're not an overnight having thousands of people watch you live. You've got to be like Donald. you got to be on every day or be on consistently. So I'm on 5 times a week. I do marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie, Mondays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do the Experience Live with Russ and Scott on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do the Experience Backstage on Instagram Live every Wednesday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays, I do Russ Live. So I do those. Those all have different themes and different things around them, but I do them all consistently on those dates and times. Then I also produce shows, and Dr. Nupi Aurora and some other doctors, I do some live streaming shows for them and produce for them. And I keep them very consistent on what they're doing and help them through that process, because that's how you build and grow. That's how you build and really make an impact. Because what is this really all about, Donald? I think you brought this up a while back. What is your reason for live streaming? What is your purpose or your why in life? Why are you doing this? You need to have a reason. You need to know why. You need to have a plan for what you're doing. I don't mean being micro detailed with questions and all those things like Donald said. I'm a firm believer in just conversation online, like you're talking about. But the whole thing is you've got to have a reason you're doing things, because if you're just floundering, not only are people not going to care, but you're going to drop out because you don't have really a reason you're doing it. Donald has specific intentional ideas about what he wants to accomplish, what he wants to do every day. And you're doing that with purpose, with intentionality, with consistency. That's how you build an audience. That's how you build a following. That's how you become more visible. And you find in business, they always say, your ideal client, because people start seeing you. You start getting out there. In fact, I just connected with a gentleman back east. And when I was introduced to him online, his comment back to the person that was introducing us was, "Oh, yeah, I know Russ. I know all about him. I'm really familiar with him." And he's like all over, live streaming and all this stuff. And I'd never met him, but he sees me. He knows who I am. And that makes the difference, right? All these people that maybe you haven't talked to yet, they're still seeing you. And so I encourage everybody to do this. Make sure and connect with people on a personal level, on a caring level, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah, and show that you're willing to take the next step. Until you ask, do you know what the limitation is? Right? And I don't connect with anybody. I wouldn't be happy to have a phone call right afterward or a Zoom. And if you say, hey, thanks for connecting, or I saw your post, and I really think we're really aligned, let's have a Zoom, and they say I'm busy, then they've sorted themselves for you, right? And now you can move to the next person. The other thing is, success to me is qualified by how happy you are. At the end of the day, it's not how much you got. I mean, I found out, and I adopted minimalism a few years ago, that the more stuff you got, the more stuff got you, right? And if you got to take care of it, insure it, house it, blah, 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 is that really you? It's becoming more of a thing than a person. And the other thing is, I just want to be a very, very small part of something very important and very big, right? And that allows all kinds of opportunity for someone to backfill, to take over, because everybody's at a different point in their lives, and people can take advantage of it and give advantage to people who can help people say, hey, I got, like lay it on the table. Let's put it all together and pick out a good hand here. Right. And the other thing is, some people inspire you. If things are heartfelt instead of thought driven, right? If you just go with your feelings, if you just say, hey, something about that person, they do something good for me. Well, find ways to get more around them and less around somebody else. When people say, I'd love to do it, I don't have enough time, I say, how much time don't you have? Right? I mean, we're all got the same time. What are you doing with it? What is it doing for you? That's the key. If you're happy, everything's working the way you want it, don't touch it, right? It's very rare that ever happens. If you're in a beautiful spot, enjoy it for as long as the sun's out. But here's what I know. You get to feel who you are by the people around you. There's dream stealers. They're telling you what you can't do. You're not big enough, tall enough, smart enough, And if you have enough confidence in yourself That's like someone telling me today's Monday and I don't even think about even responding to it. It would be hard to even do that. And also the power of no, that is the most powerful word you can ever use. Is some people, if they're on a mission, if they're into something bigger than themselves, they don't have time for distraction, right? They're just go, 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 get this done. And, now how you phrase something to yourself is so important, because when I say something, the next thing that comes out of my mouth, I'm hearing it at the exact same time you are. And that means something. So if people say, I had a guy, a CFO, who was really strong, and I said, well, we got a problem with that. He said, don't phrase things as a problem, because now you're starting with a negative. You could always say, we've got an opportunity to improve something now, right? And now everybody hears it differently. It's the same issue, but then
Right.
you teach people how to say based on modeling. So what's your thought towards all this? This is so cool the way it's working.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. You teach others by what you do, by your actions and how you say things. It's not so much what you say, but how you say it. It's not so much sometimes what you do, but how you do it. And I think that it is important. I'm the kind of guy that we rush into, have a problem. Somebody crashes into your car. My first words are, well, the good news is we're still alive. I am
Mm-hmm.
always looking for the good in whatever's going on, because you know what? Challenges are going to happen in life, and there's things that happen that I am certainly not happy about. But you know what? I'm going to find the positive things in those. And one thing you alluded to, when you are, I'm going to kind of tweak a little bit that you said with just a little word, and that is, if you're in a happy place, that's a great thing. Happy is an emotion. You can't always be happy. When my mama passed away, I was not happy at that moment, but you can always have joy. I feel like, I always have the joy of the Lord in my spirit, no matter what. And that's why I can look at positive things in life or negative things in life and make them positive, thinking that all things work for the good. And so what's important, I think, is to look at how your perspective on life. So when you start, like Donald said, with these things are going on, but you're thinking we can learn from this, we can grow from this. This may be a horrible situation, but there's so many positive things that could come out of it. And COVID's a great example that everybody can relate to. Everybody was hit with COVID just suddenly, the world shut down. The way people reacted to that and their perspective made all the difference. If you reacted to that, life shut down for me, I had all this space open up. My beautiful wife said, honey, if you really feel like this is the direction you wanted to go, I had already laid the foundation for my own business. If this is the way you want to go and you think God is moving you this direction, now is your time. So I looked at it as a positive opportunity, which, by the way, is my word for 2023. And that is opportunity to start my business, grow my business, start doing podcasting and live streaming and all the things I was doing, write my book. I wrote my book within 5 months after COVID, because I suddenly had all this space and time where it would not have been possible for me to do it before. Well, let me back up. It would have been possible, but it would have been really hard, because I would have had to made all these major changes myself, which I probably wouldn't have done at that time. But you know what? The brakes came on, a bad situation happened, and I turned it into something positive. And I think those that did that during COVID did amazingly well. Those that didn't do that during COVID had a really, really tough struggle. But it's not too late. It's never too late, right, Donald? It's never too late to be positive and encouraging and move forward.
Everybody is in the same spot when you're talking about now. Here's another thing. No one can ever take away what you've already done or had or experienced. That's in the books, right?
Yep.
And sometimes you got to go back to go forward to take inventory and say, how many times close your eyes and you say, I was on a stage and people loved me, right? The applause was thunderous. Or I had a birthday and some relatives showed up and something happened. You could spend the rest of your life revisiting all the happy times, all the times you felt on top of the world. And why not? It's in your power, right?
Right.
To exchange something with something else. And here's what's so important. Some lady who was very successful came into my life and had breakfast with me. And the simple thing she said is everybody has the same choice every day. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be unhappy, right? Some days you wake up and the world is like just the best place in the world. The next day it's the worst. And you say, how could the world have changed so quickly in just one day? Right? And it's not that. There's another saying, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get up. You're going to fall down, you're going to get knocked down, and one day you're not going to get up. And another practice I've engineered is a gratitude time when I wake up, an appreciation time when I go to sleep, to recount the best parts of the day and leaving the log pile bigger than I found it. And also saying goodbye to people as if I'll never see them again. And then being so excited when I do see them again, right? Because they say live every day like it's your last, because one day it will be, right? And if this was your last day, what would change for you? You wouldn't be looking at your bank statement, I can tell you that. And whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat, use it. Like if it's laughing just to laugh at something, then do it and exchange something that would have maybe taken the other way. And one last thing, everything you do in life either takes you closer to your goal or further away, right? If you eat an apple every day, or if you just eat a candy bar every day, first day, nothing's going to show. But it's those little things that compound over time that make the difference. Russ, what's your thoughts?
Well, that's absolutely right, because little things become big things. Little things are that one step at a time, that one foot in front of the other, that one hand up, step up the ladder, whatever you're doing, and it makes all the difference. When you do that, you don't know the impact ultimately you're going to have on somebody. If they're having an amazingly horrible day and you do one little thing by smiling at them, you may make just that little bit of change that the next person adds to, and the next person adds to, and turns that person's day completely around, one little step at a time. And don't ever think that those little things are insignificant, because that's where significance starts. Significance begins one step at a time.
Yeah, and why not take your time? Where's the fire? And you got a neutral and a reverse gear too, right? So you can just pause it, and you come back to it. There's a time when you say, I'm just not right. There were times when I was going to work, and I mentioned that before, and my mindset was not worth showing up. And on the way, I saw a park. And I pulled over and just walked as long as it took to get my mind where it needed to be. And then I went to work, and I was there for one less hour, but the hours I put in were good hours. And if you're working to help other people, being second is a good place to be, because there's typically too much you for you anyways. And if this show was based on me, I would have run out of things to say after a few days. If I was talking strategy, how many times could you talk about tagging without covering it, and how many people want to listen to it? But if it's the human condition, if it's the human spirit, and every day life changes for everybody in all kinds of ways, who is here that says, I got to share something because it's blowing up inside of me? Or
Can I add to that, Donald? Can I add to
Sure.
what you said too? Sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say that, being a leader and doing good things doesn't mean you're always out front. You're always leading the way, because a lot of times you're leaving everybody behind and you're not helping. Part of being a leader is sometimes being behind, giving them a little boost, a little encouragement, a little energy, helping people. And helping people is not always out in front sailing along. And yes, we need to lead by example, but example doesn't mean you're leaving everybody behind. So I think that's critical, that those little steps, those little actions, all that you're doing are adding to helping other people and blessing them every day of your life.
No, and that's why I do it every day, because it's the best hour of my day. This is not work, because if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing something else, right? So it's either here or there. And the other thing is, I learned so much from the people. And in this decentralized world, blockchain and all that stuff, you don't want to be talking top down. You want to be in the crowd. You want to be part of the decentralized thing. And what caught me, I read a book last week, and we need to close up because I'm conscious of the top of the hour, is it said, tell somebody something and they forget. Teach somebody something and they may remember. Involve somebody and they learn. And the more people that get on the stage, I was never a big believer in like high school sports when people would go to every practice, put on the uniform, show up for everything, and never get in the game, right? Because they weren't the best, or someone had a feeling about somebody. And that was so wrong in so many ways. And things that happen to you happen to people like you. And you can tell what could have happened and made it different for you, but you can now make it happen that way for other people, right?
Right.
Take the lessons you've learned and paid for and get some dividends, and they're free to give. They're not free to learn, right? Because when you're learning it, you're paying for it. But this is such a joy every day to be with these wonderful people. These are everyday people that come here. And what it tells me is we have something of value. Now, however you monetize it or whatever, that's not important. You know what I say? Keep building value, because you never know how far away you are from having the right value. And too many people are focused on what they need or want instead of what they deserve. And you usually get what you deserve, not always what you need or want. So, Russ, this is a distinct pleasure to have you on. I hope everybody has had the opportunity to really see how deep Russ is and how what a big wingspan he has, and how we can all learn from everybody, and everybody is in the same boat. So take advantage of people who say, I'm open, I'm accessible, connect with me, believe them. This is not just someone patting themselves on the back, and you'll be surprised. Everybody at the end of the day puts their pants on one leg at a time. Remember that. So, and no one's that special. And if they are, I don't want to be with them, right? I want to be with the people who are meat and potatoes, who are just everyday people, and get the gratification of living vicariously through other people's successes. So, Russ, why don't you say some goodbye words, and I'll let everybody go back to whatever they're going into next.
Well, great. Well, listen, it's been such a blessing, Donald, to be on your show. And thank you for everybody for watching today, whether you're watching live or on replay. Just appreciate you taking some time. I want to encourage you to take life one step at a time. Be encouraged that, no matter what you're going through, that there are better things on the other side, that you can keep moving forward to just really be blessed and be present in what's going on in your life today, and enjoy your journey today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't live in the past. Enjoy your journey today. Get out there. You can connect with me at russhedge.com. Russhedge.com has all my connection links, from social media to you can schedule time even directly on my calendar to meet with me, Zoom with me. I would love for you to do that. I put that information in the comments. And I just want to encourage you, whether you need help with marketing or just need a good friend, I love to connect with people. And so please connect with me at russhedge.com. And thanks. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Donald, so much for having me.
My pleasure. It was an honor. Thank everybody. And with that, bye for now. See everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and look forward to it. So take care, Russ. Take care, audience.